Hey, good morning, everyone. Grace and peace. Welcome to Find the Intersection. My name is Paul Dezay, and it's Thursday, which means we talk about the Psalm. And today's Psalm is Psalm 32. So the context of this particular Psalm, it's a Psalm of David, and it's considered one of the seven penitential Psalms, which were used in the early church as a way to explore our sinfulness. So we read through these and deal with whether we have sin in our life and then confess our sin to receive forgiveness. So this is one of those Psalms. So let's dig in. There's three things that just kind of jumped off the page for me today when I read Psalm 32. First thing is the idea of confession and dealing with those that confess will receive forgiveness, but those who do not confess our sins, it says that our body wastes away and we groan all day long. So there's this idea of our sins are meant to be confessed to God. Admitting our sins is an important step to becoming the person that we were created to be. And so this psalm really helps us see the need of confession. In verse number 1, it says, "Oh, what a joy for those whose disobedience is forgiven, whose sin is put out of sight. Yes, what a joy for those whose record the Lord has cleared of guilt, whose lives are lived in complete honesty. When I refused to confess my sin, my body wasted away and I groaned all day long." So the first thing is confession. The second thing that jumped out to me is the idea of forgiveness. And I just read, whose disobedience is forgiven. And so forgiveness is a key part of the Christian life, to have our slate wiped clean, to become the person that God created us to be. And the third thing that jumped out to me is the idea of joy. Joy is listed 3 times in here, once in verse 1, once in verse 2, and then also in verse number 11. So joy is the result of confession leading to forgiveness. So confession leads to forgiveness, leads to joy. The ability to rejoice and be the person that God created us to be, to sing a song of joy because we have been set free from the guilt and the consequences that come along in, like even it says in our bodies. Our body deals with sin. Unconfessed sin does something to our bodies. So when we are forgiven, our bodies are even set free to rejoice, which is it's interesting. When you take a look at our lives in the times when we were holding back sin, when we had unconfessed sin in our life and what it did to us. It caused stress, it caused anxiety, and that has consequences on the rest of our life. So being free from sin, unconfessed sin, God sets us free to live the life that God created us to be joyful. So that's what I got today. I think it was an amazing psalm, and I did not know that part about the 7 penitential psalms, so that was a good learning for me. Application is very timely with Lent. Do I need to confess any sin? Is there any unconfessed sin in my life? And then to go ahead and confess that to God, because God will forgive my sins, and that's a promise that He will. And that will lead to freedom and joy. So those are the things that I got from today's psalm, which is Psalm 32. And then tomorrow, my favorite day of the week, is Friday, and we'll be talking about intersections, and I see some beautiful intersections through this week, and I hope you have as well. So if you could do me a favor and share your thoughts to Psalm 32 in the comments, just jot down a couple words, and then we'll learn from one another, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning to talk about the intersections for the week. You guys have a great day today. Grace and peace to you.